He joined Toastmasters in order to become a more comfortable and skilled at public speaking. Today, Rourke will be giving his third speech, Get to the Point, from the Competent Communicator Manual. The objective of his speech is to inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire. The title of his 5 to 7 minute speech is Adventures in Traveling. Can you join me in welcoming Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, my friends, I think you already know that I like to travel. So I'm going to talk about my adventures in traveling and how I think it's a great idea. It's a wonderful way to learn. It's a way to get to find out how other people live or how they think and what they eat and all those fun things. And so I really would encourage everyone to do that. You don't always have to have a lot of money to go to travel to a different place. You could go to, let's say, CB Valley or Long Beach, or you could go to someplace far and exotic. I decided to go. I've always wanted to go to Cuba, and since 2015 it's become much easier for us to go, us as Americans. From Poland you've been able to go for years. No one ever had no one got prevented from going, I'll say. And many Americans had to go by a third-party country, such as Canada or Mexico, to get there. And we also had to worry about any problems with having your passport stamped or anything when you came back to the U.S. You could be subject to fines up to $86,000. So while I've always wanted to go, it was just a little bit prohibitive in case you got caught. So nowadays, you can go to Cuba much easier, especially with American Airlines going down there. Specifically, Alaska flies nonstop from Los Angeles. And for $354 and just 4.5 hours of your time, you can choose a day and end up in Havana. So I will tell you that there are a lot of different options on how you can go. Most often people see these tours where they'll take you and you'll be part of a group of anywhere from 8 to 30 people, and it's all guided, and they provide everything, and they're only $3,500 plus per month per person to go. And I thought that was just ridiculously expensive. So looking at the cost of the airfare and figuring out hotels versus Airbnb, I decided to put that together. Is that my phone? See, it's someone calling me with a deal. But anyway, I decided to go on my own with a friend, and so I looked into the visa process. And when you buy a ticket, you get a visa. You have to get a visa because you cannot land. You can't even get on the plane without a visa, so you should know that. There are 12 different licenses that are blanket licenses that allow you as an American to go to Cuba, to travel there. And among those is educational purposes and people-to-people visits. That's what I chose. And I had a friend of mine that I was showing him all of the options as far as Airbnb. For $96, you could have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in a really nice area. Or for $350 a night, you could share a hotel room in a pretty nice hotel. So he decided that the 2-bedroom, 2-bath would be the best way. And I thought it was great too. And we made the plans and we're ready to go. And shortly thereafter, he told me that he might not be able to go. So I started to think about, do I really, really, really want to go by myself? How much is this going to cost me? Especially how much I've already paid. So I decided I would go by myself, take that chance. The experience going solo, it was wonderful, and I'm glad I did it. Once again, it's an adventure, and it's why I'm encouraging people to do it. Going to Cuba is a very different location. It's not like going to Texas or even Miami. The people may seem similar, but the place is totally different. Among the things that I saw there and experienced there, I experienced a lot of friendly people, and that was great, but I also experienced people who had a different hustle. They had a way of life to overcome a way that was rather hard. The average person makes $25 to $30 per month down there, and although the government subsidizes a lot of their food and their housing, they do get to see a lot of the tourists that come in from Canada, Mexico, and other countries, the US now. And so a lot of people have opened up their own businesses, and I can see, as communist countries go, I can see China being in their future, in the sense that I think we have more billionaires coming out of China, which is a communist country, than we ever expected. So now they're starting on a slow scale where they're opening up private restaurants in their homes called paladors, and they're competing with the government-run restaurants, and the government's allowing that to happen. There are also, a lot of people are doing Airbnb where they're opening their homes up and allowing people to come in, and they're doing it at a much better rate than the hotels are, and you get a chance to get to really meet the people. Years ago, a lot of the tours that they would take you on specifically had you just seeing people they pre-approved, and they wouldn't have you or wouldn't allow you to talk to people on the street. That's completely changed now. And speaking of the street, it is one of the safest places you could ever go. To walk down the street by yourself in Havana at 2 in the morning, as long as you stay in relatively lit areas, no problem at all. You very rarely hear of any problems other than pickpocketing. That could happen anywhere. But attack, murder is virtually rare. I think that's because the people are probably more afraid of the government coming and getting you. On the flip side of that too, if there's ever a situation where there's an argument between a Cuban national and a tourist, the tourist is going to win almost every time with the police, because they don't want to stop the tourist flow from coming in. I think that among the oddities that I saw down there was the fact that you go into a store and the store doesn't have nearly what you think it would have. I went into a store for some water and some chips, and they had neither. I could buy baby diapers, I could buy formula, I could buy candy, I could buy rum, I could buy vodka and beer, but I couldn't find chips. Go figure. Also, if you see people looking at those fancy classic cars, is another way that some of the people down there are making money. They charge tourists $50 an hour to drive around in that. If you realize 1 hour is more than they would make a month just by doing their regular job. And another thing that I thought was just a little amazing, that a gentleman who gave me a ride back to the airport was a pediatric orthopedic surgeon, and he does airport runs for $25 to make ends meet. So that's just giving you a little idea of what traveling can be like and how you can learn things. I think everybody should do that, and I think it is life is too short, so you really need to get up and go do it. Thank you.